Good afternoon. It is Tuesday at 20 minutes of 1 in the afternoon. This is Cracker's Crazy Living. Today I'm homemade pickles. I went up to my local farm market, Detweiler's in Venice, and bought 21 pounds of pickling cucumbers. And I'm just got them in the sink here. I'm rinsing them off really good. And then I'm going to show you how I make pickles. It's a fairly easy process. It just seems that when I do it, it takes half the afternoon because I do a lot. I don't do just a couple of jars. I figure if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to spend time making a few jars, more than just a couple, if I'm going to go through the process. I like to use Mrs. Wage's kosher dill mix. It's really easy to use. It calls for 9 to 11 pounds of pickling cucumbers, 3 1/3 cup of distilled white vinegar. I usually do use distilled white vinegar, but sometimes I don't have it, and I use the apple cider vinegar, and that is fine too. 5% acidity apparently is what you need. 7 1/3 cups of water and 1 pouch of Mrs. Wage's mix. I also have the Ball brand, that bread and butter mix. Now this mix makes up to 13 quarts. Each batch makes, I think, 2 jars. This one makes up to 7 quarts. Now this one does come in bread and butter pickle, but when I was buying this that day, they didn't have it in the bread and butter, and they had this. So that's why I have 2 different brands. So I'm going to go ahead and get my cucumbers washed real good. I'm going to put them in this bowl, and then I'll be back and show you what's next. Okay, I'm back. So I have my cucumbers in my big bowl, and I got a bunch of jars cleaned out. I got some brand new jars. Just try to stand this up a little higher so I can see what we're doing. I do have a few cucumbers here. I tried to pick the very best ones I could in a timely manner, because if you have a Detweiler's near you, you know how crowded these stores are. There's one in Venice, which is a half an hour from me, and it's always packed with people. I asked the girl if they had it in a box, because sometimes I can buy them by the case. You don't pay a case price, you just pay however much it is, which these were $1.49 a pound, which could be on the pricey side. But I don't remember, the last time I made them was 5 years ago, and I don't remember what I paid for them back then. And I should keep a log on that. Should keep like a little journal on that to see how the prices are. Goodness, excuse me, working out, but I don't tend to do that. All of a sudden I had the hiccups. But what I'll do with these is I'll cut them, and we'll see if they're rotted. They're not rotted. They're just a little soft. So I'll see if they're rotted. Some of them might not be that good. And then I can cut them up smaller for my my bread and butter pickle. I really did try hard. When you're standing around a bunch of people and you're buying 20-something pounds worth of cucumbers, it's kind of hard. And they were kind of slimy under, like, they have them all piled up in a bin. And when I got down to the, because I was, 21 pounds of pickles. Look at how many I got, That's a lot of cucumbers. What are you barking at? Just a minute. She's hearing my son next door, and she thinks somebody's here, and there's nobody here. Anyway, as I was saying, it's hard to stand there and hand pick through them. And when I was getting down toward the middle of the bucket, where they had them stored, they were kind of wet and slimy, but they were slimy because they were wet, not because they were bad. But anyway, so the first batch I'm going to do is I have a regular mouth. Usually I do like the wide mouth, but when I bought these jars, I bought regular mouth. So it's going to be what it is. So what I do with the jars is with the regular mouth. With the wide mouth, I can just, where's my wide mouth jar? I have one right here. I can just load them in like this because my hand fits almost in there. So but with these, not so much. So with these, I lay them on their side, because what I like to do is I like to cut my pickles in spears. And they don't have to be perfect, but I like to cut them into spears. And then I just gently kind of lay them in the jar like this. And it's easier to pack them, or you can't even see what I'm doing. Oh, maybe, whoa, gonna fall off the table. The stand is loose. All right, maybe that'll stay. So here's my jar. Hold on, I gotta tip you down. I have to use two hands because my phone will slide right out of this thing and you'll go falling on the floor again. So here's my jar, so you can kind of see how this is gonna work. And for these ones, now you don't have to take off the stem ends if you don't want. When you go to the store and you buy pickles, they don't take the stem ends off. Now, if you've got a stem hanging off of it, which I have one in here, then you're gonna want to cut that off. You're gonna want to nub that. Just cut that little nub off. So I like to cut them in spears. Oops, that one's going to be a skinny one and the other one's going to be a big one. And then I just kind of slide them in there. If they don't fit in two at a time, then just fit them in. If you have to go one way and one another way, do that. See, there's one with a little bit of a blossom end still on it, so I'm just gonna cut that one right off. It's not easy getting these straight, but they don't have to be perfectly straight. These are your home canned goods. It's not, you don't have to impress anyone but yourself. And if they're not perfect, they don't have to be. You're not making them. I mean, I make them for my family, but I also take them to the reunion. I haven't made pickles in over 5 years because I take them to the reunion. Whoop, you're going to slide off again. And then, straight. All right. I take them to the reunion and I sell them in our auction. And then, the money from the auction goes back into our reunion fund. I'm just going to take a smaller one. I try to pack as many in here as I can. Here, I got a skinny one. I think he's going to fit right there. Yep, perfect. So here's the inside of the jar. They're nice and tight, and they're in there pretty good. So that's how we do this. Now I'm going to pause you and I'm going to do all of these and then I'll come back a little later. Okay, I'm back. So I have, so far for my dill pickles, I have 14 quarts. So I have 2 packages that makes 7 quarts each. So that's plenty of stuff. So what I am going to do now is I have a jar of pickle crisp here. And it says to use 1/4 of a teaspoon, but I'm going to use a half because the best by date is expired. So I think the only thing with this, I don't think it's going to be bad. All it is an agent to keep your pickles crispy. And it might not be as reactive as you like it, since the best by date is old. And it's kind of clumped together, so I think that's part of the reason. I tried to go get more at the stores, and nobody has it. When Dixie doesn't have it, usually I get all my ingredients at Walmart. They don't have it. I gotta get a knife or something and get this. Hold on, I gotta chop this up with my fork, my scissors. It's all clumped together. I need to use it because last time I did not use it, and my pickles were like limp and soggy. I mean, they were good, don't get me wrong, but we like a crisp pickle. We don't like soggy pickles. A little bit more in this one. And I'll tell you what it is. Where's the ingredients? It should have ingredients. It eliminates the need for pickling lime and the cucumber's time-consuming pre-soak process. I made pickles from scratch, and I don't really like. It's calcium chloride. That's what it is. So I don't think, even if it has a best by date, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Now I am going to put garlic in 6 of these jars. And I have roasted garlic here. I don't know. I don't feel right about using that. I'm going to get some fresh garlic. I have plenty of fresh garlic. I bought some bulbs at the store when I was making some butter, so I have plenty. And they're nice big cloves too, so I'm gonna only put garlic in 6 of these jars. 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, I really bought some mammoth garlic. We do have people in the family that like garlic pickles. I'm going to get something to smash these with. It's just easier to smash them. So I have my antique wooden masher here that works great for smashing garlic. Just give it a good whack. I like it. Doing that, it kind of gets the the skins off really super easy. But smashing it too allows that clove of garlic to cook in there when it's being processed at the same time. So it helps. I didn't put one in there yet. 4, 5. Wow, that is a huge clove of garlic right here. I need one more clove because I'm going to do an even 7 jars. 7 plain, 7 with garlic. One more. I picked some nice garlic when I bought it. It can be sometimes it can be difficult picking just the right garlic heads. You want them super fresh. The one time I was showing you how to pick a good one and got them home and they weren't that great. Right, I guess I'll just put it in the wide mouth one. Okay, so next I am going to get a pot on the stove. I got to clean my Dutch oven because I'm going to use my Dutch oven. The recipe does say combine Mrs. Wages and white distilled vinegar. I'm going to use the vinegar I have, and then I'll have to switch to apple cider. That doesn't hurt nothing. Combine your Mrs. Wages with distilled vinegar, water, and Mrs. Wages pickle mix into a large non-reactive saucepan. I'm going to use a Dutch oven. Do not use aluminum. I don't know what happens if you use aluminum with this mix. It says not to. So I'm not going to. Bring the mixture just to a boil over medium heat, stirring constantly until the mixture dissolves, and then remove it from the heat. And then you're going to pour it in your jars, and you're going to wipe your rims, and you're going to seal them, and you're going to put them in a water bath canner for 15 minutes for quarts, 10 minutes for pints, 15 minutes for quarts. So I got my pickles done. I'm going to need 3 1/3 cups of vinegar, 7 1/3 cups of water to 1 pouch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make both pouches in one pan. That way I can have them ready for the next 7 batch. You know, might as well do it all at once. So I will be back when I get the stuff ready to pour in and seal. Okay, here we are. I have readjusted you. I've got 2 batches here. I had to set my legs down so you're not up so high because my stand is kind of tippy. So let me get something to stir this with. I have a stainless steel pot here. It's not aluminum, it's stainless steel. I had enough white vinegar to do 2 batches, and I have leftover. So that was good. My vinegar was like 3/4 of a gallon. So in here I have 6 2/3 cups of vinegar and 14 2/3 cups of water and 2 packages of Mrs. Wages dill mix. Now, I'm going to warn you, if you do not like strong smells in your kitchen, you're not going to deal well with making pickles with this pickle mix because it is very strong. And when you start to boil this, the smell gets very pungent and very strong. So if you have a problem with that, you're going to need to do it, either not do it, or you're going to have to do it in a well-ventilated area. I don't even have a stove hood vent that would work properly because when they built my apartment back in the Stone Age, they didn't even put the ventilation through the ceiling, through the roof. To suck it up and get it out of your house. They just put a hood vent here, so it just blows it around the kitchen. It doesn't even get it out of the kitchen. So that was a very bad design on the part of whoever built these apartments. And there's several of these apartments up and down the road that I live on. So I'm just going to start mixing this. I like the smell of it. It smells like dill pickles. I'm going to get rid of my package. Just going to stir this around so it dissolves really good. I bring it to a boil and then I'll come back. Okay. Oh, I told you about the smells, right? It's strong. It's taking my breath away. Now this pickling spice has everything in it for dill pickles. You can see it's got onions in it, and I don't know if it has mustard seeds. I don't think it does. But the only thing it does not have, it smells dill pickly for sure. The only thing it doesn't have is dill weed. So I added about a 1/4 teaspoon of dill weed to each of my jars. I don't think that's going to be a problem. It's just dill weed. I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. So I got my measuring cup here. I'm just going to dip it in there. And then I'm just going to pour it over my cucumbers very carefully. Nope, that's not going to work. It's going to make a mess. So let me get my funnel. My canning funnel. And that just kind of helps the liquids go in there without dumping it everywhere. And you're just going to fill your jar to about a 1/2 inch headspace. These funnels really come in. Whoa! Come in. Ooh, that's might be too high. These funnels really do come in very handy because it just keeps the liquid from slopping everywhere. Just gotta kind of be careful how far you're filling these up. They are going to need to be jiggled around and get the air bubbles out, for sure. Not sure if there's going to be enough liquid for 7 more jars. I hope it is. Now, once you start jiggling these around and get those air bubbles out, you might have to add more liquid. It might be just right. Last time I did them, they were great. I didn't have any problems. I kind of just wiggle them around. I don't bother. Might have to tap them a little. I don't bother with the stick thing. If you're concerned about that, you can use a skewer. I'm going to wipe my rims. I got to get my canner out. Make sure to tap these a little bit if you need to. All that liquid in there. Wiping these rims off. I don't want anything to impede my jars from not sealing. I don't want anything to happen where they're not going to seal properly. If you have jars that do not seal properly, then you can let it cool down to room temperature and then put them in the refrigerator. Smells like a pickle factory. I like to use my summer for all the canning projects I would love to do. I haven't made pickles in 5 years, so I felt like it was time for pickles. I only had 2 jars left in my pantry. I've been selling at the reunion. Even though we didn't care for the ones that weren't real crispy, my cousins did, Bruce's cousins did, because they bought them at the reunion and they ate them. They said they were great. So it just depends on what you like, I guess. My family likes crispy pickles. So we're going to see, because if that pickle crisp doesn't work out, then they're not going to be crispy. But it's not going to hurt anything. I really don't think it will hurt anything. All right. Okay, so I'm going to get these lidded. I'm going to get them in my canner, my water bath canner. You guys have seen how I water bath before. I just get my canner out. I fill it with water. I put my sealed jars in the canner, cover it at least 2 inches with water, and then put the lid on it, bring it to a boil, turn it down to a slow boil, and boil it for 15 minutes. Then take the lid off, turn it off, and leave it for another few minutes, and then you can pull your pickles out. But I'll be back after that is done so you can see the final product. Okay, my pickles have processed. I was trying to cram 7 quarts into my canner, and apparently my canner only holds 6 quarts or 7 pints. Coming out, smells like a pickle factory in here. It'll start to pop. Okay, so I'm going to put my brine back on the stove, get it boiling again, so I can go ahead and fill the next 6 jars with my brine. I want my brine to be hot, so I'm just going to put it back on the stove. So I will definitely take a picture of my finished products here, and I will post it on the community tab on my YouTube page. So if you go to my YouTube page, you should see different tabs, and I will have a picture of it in the community tab. I have several photos there of all kinds of stuff I've been doing, the baking and the canning and all kinds of stuff. I've been taking pictures of the final and then posting it there. Thank you so much for joining me today for Cracker's Crazy Living. If you like what I do and you enjoy my videos, even if you learn a little bit and you like it, please, and you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. And hit the bell. It will notify you when I have more videos. And have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.